If you minia, long live Ghana, man. Long live the baby, man.
One time. So come go to Jenny Mumpire. So come for we are fire. I'm ready ever to you. Ghana, ready ever to you. Let me free Ghana. The man penny I would can your friend on Dr. Nkrumah. Yeah, mini sign up when my dear number your mama. I send back up baby na mintia. I am in one. Here on no Naji fan who dear. Get Naraya Sassin here. I have what they did my Mojana Nana we are going to how my head room in there will go say a baby at once. So, can I be a baby? I'm in the way. I'm in the on one Diana and I'm possessed a ray of Yana and then Yana into young physical tons of Fangu from Namo Frayina, come Nayan to Jomon Campo, Yamusaya kind of animal that be and so did video some Yanu did Gana City, Obia baby, and now to any greedy, Abrajanka Bitty baby and our coach Korea, Bianco Bini, Libya, when I was Suya. Rene Usima Baku and the Piatos and Kutia can answer what Parliament, Akonako, and I just say, I want to become a power, Mepajanka, Koya Bawana, and Master Bibi, I want to go shop with some tower, and yes, I'm not putting power. When I go try a bank, I want any millions of seven, and never casa. May they are not in power yet. Muntia, Yana, man, in Panay, I'm in India, Nana, May, I'm in India. So, no, Bianabio.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and you're watching Diaspora Network Television. Today's show is going to be yet another very interesting one. I have a very unique guest in the studio with me. But before we get to the guests, I want you to do something. You can get us, as you are probably now, watching us on a multi-TV platform throughout Africa. But you know what? If you're not in Africa, you can still watch us. Just go to App Store or Google Store, whether you use an iOS or Android, DNT Ghana. Just type it in. It'll bring our app, download it, and you can watch us anywhere in the world. We stream our programs 24/7, so you can watch us. And I also want to thank Specialize. Very good drink. Once you drink it, you know what I'm talking about. It's very, very good product. Good clear water. That's what we drink here at Diaspora Network Television. Stay tuned with us. We'll go to the jungle. When we come back, you meet our guests. In today's jungle, I want to draw your attention. By the time this program is showing, we would be a couple of days away from the election here in Ghana, election 2020, parliamentary and presidential election. In a build-up to the election, there's a lot of tension in the streets everywhere. People feel like they're going to kill each other. But guess what? We've been through this 7 times already. Nothing has happened, and there is no reason to expect that this time it will be any different. But just in case anybody is thinking about causing mayhem because of the election, I want to draw your attention to something. Here in Ghana, not only were we the first country south of the Sahara to obtain independence, we are also light years ahead of our peers when it comes to how we've implemented a democratic system of governance. Why do I say that? Governments come, government go. We've changed government between parties about 3 times already. It's nothing new to us, okay? So if the election doesn't go your way this time around, you only have to wait 4 years and then try again. No need to lose lives over this. No need to cause mayhem about this. We don't live in Uganda or Cameroon, where people have stayed for 34 plus years. Those are places that when you're going into election, it's a do or die affair. Even that is not a do or die affair because people are going to die off anyway. But the point I'm making is, in Ghana, we've actually done very well with this democratic system of governance. So this election will also come and go just like any other election. Save yourself. The politician that you're fighting for is going to be around when you are gone. It's no point, there's no need to shed blood. So this is my personal appeal to you to observe peace throughout the election, because come December, we're all going to party together. In fact, I dare you, go to some parties around the Christmas, and you will see a parliamentary candidate from NPP and a parliamentary candidate from NDC probably dancing together. They are friends, they're not enemies. So there's no reason why you, the supporters, should be enemies. For today, for this program, this is the Jangle. We'll come back and we'll meet my guest. Stay tuned.
It's a new season. 3 latest intriguing conversations. The bad and the ugly. Only on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Hello and welcome back. In today's episode, I want you to meet a very special guest. She's one of those people who, if I mention her real name, which I will not do through this program, you would not know who she is. But if I mention her stage name, you're like, there she is. She's been described as brave, fearless, intelligent. Why am I doing all this? Look, help me welcome Lady Jast. Welcome.
Thank
In
you.
COVID time, I want to shake your hand, but I can't.
know, right?
Lady Jast, the good old Lady Jast is in the studio. Mm-hmm. Wow. Before we get to what you do, who is Lady Jast? We just got to, we want to know you, because people know you from the videos and you're like bashing NDC and all that. Who are you? And where did you come from?
Who am I? I'm a Ghanaian, born and bred here, but at a point, after secondary school and after working here for a while, should I say migrated, or I went outside. I lived in UK for some years, and after I've worked there, schooled a bit there, I came back to Ghana. How
long have you been back?
I've been back so many years. It's been more than 10 years.
You don't speak like the rest of us.
I
you
do.
Still you have the British accent
No,
thing.
you should have heard me when I came back several years ago.
Oh, really?
That was when people would ask you again if you're a Ghanaian and all that. But I think I speak pretty well like a Ghanaian.
Well,
a Ghanaian.
Well, like
not a British.
a Ghanaian, not a Ghanania, like the Nigerians would say. Okay. Well, but before you went to UK, where did you grow up?
First in Kumasi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my dad is actually a reverend minister, so we've been living in several regions. Like when from my childhood, in Brunhafo region, Techiman to be specific, we started Koforidia. I schooled a bit, Pentecost Preparatory School. I schooled a bit in Kumasi, all the way through primary to secondary, Santos in Monica's.
Wait, You went to where?
Yasantua Secondary School. Well,
Okay.
now it's high school.
Well,
Back then we used to call it secondary
I went
school.
to school in Kumasi, and when you mention Yasantua, it connotes certain things. Please don't tell
Probably
me.
your time, but not our time.
And so you're trying to
Not
tell
our
me
time.
during your time, Yasantua wasn't in Korabone school.
No way. You know, good girls. You know, our headmistress was so strict. You wouldn't believe I actually got sent home for getting a Valentine's card. That was how strict our headmistress was.
You guys knew about Valentine. You didn't know about Valentine.
You are too old.
What is Valentine? That's the flower thing and all that. We, in our time, we paid people to write love letters for us.
Wonderful.
I mean,
You paid them. Why? You couldn't write it yourself?
No, it was a craft.
Wow.
And for people my age group, back in the early 70s, going to
Did you meet the sugar from the Sugar Mountain to the Milo?
That's what I'm talking about. The brightness of this day has given me the pleasure to write you this love word. You have to, if you want the girl to like you, there's a specific way you have to write the letter. And those of us who didn't know how to write, so you have to go to somebody to write the letter for you. But your time, you're talking about Valentine. Anyway, I mean, that's so Yasantua, then what happened?
Yes, then I did my national service at Tema Secondary School because my family moved to Tema for several years, and so I did my national service there after sixth form. And so a lot of people think I'm some young girl. I actually went to sixth form. I did O-level, A-level. So I didn't even do any of the S's that people have today. You know, I'm not that young.
Well, that's a surprise to me, but go ahead.
So I went at different places for a while, and I traveled outside.
What made you travel outside?
It's interesting enough, I had started school at Central University first year. So the plan was just to go on holidays and come back. But for some reason, some things didn't go as planned. And so I stayed, and it was a struggle. You know, it was quite a struggle. I stayed there. I schooled a bit, did the Open University course in image consultancy. I worked in the fashion industry on Oxford Street as well.
It seemed like you're in a hurry to go. Before I take you to, we'll spend some time in UK, but you just mentioned that you were supposed to go on holiday and come back. You know, during that time, do you know the type of people who went up to Abuja just for holidays and come back? Those were Dada bars.
Wow, I wasn't typically a Dada bar.
There's no way you're not a Dada. Look.
No, but at times, a lot of people were traveling.
No, sometimes
people would even borrow money to travel.
No, sometimes we the Ejabas. I don't want you, the Dada bars, to encroach in our territory. There's no Ejaba that lives to say, oh, there's a holiday, so I'm going to London. Are you kidding? No.
No, but we were supposed to go work, make money, and come back.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a holiday.
Ejabas went to the village to farm in Longvac, but the Dada bars went to work.
You were born a very long time ago.
Okay. So so now it's been established you are a Dada bar. Okay. So then you went to UK, and then what happens?
And unfortunately, before I could say Jack, like I was struggling to get work, and I thought that I needed money to come back. You know, when you all come back, you know, you want everybody to know that you've been there.
Of course.
And you know, I still hadn't found any job, and it was frustrating, and I was not ready to come back.
Okay, because if you come back with the same clothes that you got on the plane to go, there's a problem.
But there's one thing that really made me stay as well. I saw lots of opportunities, and I thought that I could school there. The system was working really well, you know, and I just thought, if I stay and I school here, maybe, just maybe, things would be much better for me. You know, I would have better chances of coming back to Ghana to help build the nation,
okay.
and to do, you know. So I actually thought then, and that it would serve me well and my family well if I stayed.
Okay.
And made some good money, and also.
So you say it was a struggle. What was the experience like?
It was horrible, you know, because I had, you know, gone to stay at my auntie's initially, and for, you know, like they say, abroche can be very tough. Even those you're very close to. I mean, you have people in the UK, you have mothers throwing their children out for, you know, any flimsy excuse or any reason. And I was staying at my auntie's, and it was difficult. We had, you know, our own misunderstandings, and
so
at a point I had to
leave. Right. Let me touch on that. There's been this talk that when people go to abroad, they change, right? But could it also be that those who come, the newcomers, don't adapt fast enough, and that is where the conflict is? Because you go to somebody overseas, you're staying with him or her, and you're thinking that, oh, everything is like Ghana, you know, but the standards are different. And sometimes when they try to get you to adapt, you won't, and that's where the conflict is. How much of that is?
I think the issue for me wasn't adapting, but, you know, it's not easy to come by certain things. Although, you know, when you go initially, you think that, oh, Abrochefo, they have it all together. They make money. You know, the government supply them stuff, and so they don't struggle to get certain things. But when you go there, the reality hits you.
Right.
That it's not as easy for them as we think when we're here.
Right.
And so you know. You're bathing, and you know the water heater and everything. You want to, you know, have a good time soaking it. Not knowing that it's costing money. And so when I go out and I'm tired, or I go out in the cold, I come. The water heater is on for several hours. In Ghana, I don't bother so much, but there, you know, it's hot water with electricity running, and it will cost her. And so all these little things we don't think about.
Yeah.
And so it makes them think,
So in your opinion, for the most part, and again, every case is different. In your opinion, when people go from Ghana or Africa to go live with someone overseas and there's conflict, majority of the time, where do you think the blame lies?
Both parties, I would say, because there's this issue of those who go from here. The journey just comes, not understanding the system well enough, you know, to be careful enough, and so we get very, you know, frugal, you know, with whatever. Spending things anyhow, using things anyhow. And on the other side, they're thinking, you know, you just came, you need to be more considerate. And so I think that probably if they will sit, the journey just come down to tell you that, you know what, and educate them. It's not as easy.
Do you think they accept the education?
I think
in good faith?
Any reasonable person, when you talk to them and let them understand that this is the situation, I don't have it as easy as you think it is. And so be careful with this. Don't let the water run unnecessarily. Don't do this unnecessarily. Don't leave this on. I mean, if you educate them that way, they would understand.
And then the moment they leave, they walk out the door, they see another Johnny Just Come who lives with a different person, who perhaps because of the different relationships have not had that conversation. And so when you're you're narrating your conversation with your host to him, he's more like, oh, oh boy, yeah, I don't have that problem here.
Oh, she's so
mean to you.
Exactly.
And then you come back home with an attitude, thinking, interesting.
Yeah. And the tension builds.
The tension builds
before you
and
know,
everything.
I don't want you out here. If you know.
And when the people who threw their kids out, did they ever make up, back up, or?
Usually, some of them do after some time. Yeah, and others don't. Because sometimes the kids take it personal, and you know.
So what would you say? What would you tell someone who's about to leave right now to go live with somebody?
if you can talk it out with your parents, they have your best interest at heart. So it's best if you stay, and if you can help at home with anything little, I mean, do as much as you can do.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So you are in UK, and you say you stayed there for 5 years. What made you come back?
First of all, I wanted to come back to be a part of the nation building system. I was planning to, but there was always not the right time yet until my sister decided to get married, and I decided to take the opportunity to come and, you know, help her. You know, I wanted to be there for her because we're very close, and I decided that, you know what, this is a good time to come and help her out. And so I decided that, okay, when I come, I can just stay and be a part of the system, work and see how it goes.
So what are you bringing to the table? If you went over there and you're coming, you must have picked something in the UK in 5 years. What would you say you picked up in 5 years that you didn't have with you before you got there?
I would say attention to details.
Okay.
They pay a lot of attention to details, and they don't joke with their work. I mean, you can't be lazy in UK. Attention to details, you know, seriousness when it comes to work, time, you know, not being there on time. I mean, it's like everything.
Okay.
It's everything. You can't be late to a program. You need to be consistent. You need to be on time.
So do you want to tell me that all Ghanaian parties in UK started on time?
I mean, of course, the Ghanaian element. The Ghanaian element would always be there. But what I noticed is that the system will not allow you to get away with certain things.
I know.
You know.
The reason why I ask is this. UK, United States, same thing. If you got to be at work at 8, you're there or else, right? So you would think that as we live there and we've been ingrained with the time consciousness and everything, when it comes to our own programming back there, that time consciousness will still be there. Why is it that when it's a party or when it's a Ghanaian meeting or so and so, then people show up whenever they want?
Because I think that they're not going to get penalized for it. And for most people, if they're not getting penalized for, you know, doing the wrong thing, they will continue to do it.
Or could it be that we don't take ourselves seriously enough?
Oh, I don't think that's what it is.
You don't?
I don't think that's what it is.
Because if you take me seriously, I don't need to have a hammer over your head for you to show up on time.
Well.
You see what I'm saying? So that brings me to the point where, I mean, you've been there, you've related with white folks, Chinese, Arabs, and everything. The way we relate to them, how would you compare that to the way we relate to ourselves? Forget about the timing aspect. How we relate with each other.
As Ghanaians?
As Ghanaians or as Africans. Do we relate the same way?
I would. Over there, we don't care who you are. I mean, we respect everyone, you know, no matter where you come from, and that's how it is. What I notice is that over here, we give people especially foreigners, too much room, you know, to do
whatever they want.
Here
in Ghana.
Here in Ghana. This, I don't know if I should say it's fear or some reverence that we have for foreigners that is insane. I feel that we need to respect each other more, you know, our fellow Ghanaians more. We go out of our way to be nice to foreigners, but we'll stab our own people in the back. I find that ridiculous. Ludicrous, even to say.
When you're in UK or back in the States, when it comes to minorities, Africans, Indians, Chinese, we're all pretty much on the same level. But then when you come back, the Indian is, hey, Bruni, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel horrible. I've had altercations here with you know, some foreigners, Indians, Lebanese, and all that. And sometimes people think that you're being bad. It worries me that they can treat us anyhow in our own country and get away with it, and we think it's okay. I actually took a case up for one of these restaurants years ago. A girl who I actually helped her. We went to court together. I supported her, and she won the case, fortunately, because in one of the restaurants, the manager, who's a Lebanese, actually put pepper in her eyes.
Oh, that story.
Yes, and I took it up. I really, you know, had to really make it go out there. And fortunately, then Madam Otiko, you know, was in charge of the ministry for women's protection.
Very
and
good.
She helped her.
That is actually a very good lead-in into the next segment when we're going to talk about the things that you do. This is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. I'm joined by Lady Jast. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
It's a new season. 3 ladies, intriguing conversation.
Energy, wow.
It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Only on DNT.
Welcome back. You're watching Diaspora Network Television, and the program is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. I'm joined by Lady Jast. You know the name Lady Jast. What does Lady Jast do best? She bashes NDC. Why? What has NDC done to you?
I don't bash NDC. I don't bash NDC. I just basically put out the truth, you know, and when they're lying blatantly about something, I set the record straight because the world needs to know.
Okay. So what got you into it?
What got me into it? It's a long story. Some bits I cannot share with the world, but I would say that, of course, I've always wanted to help put the truth out there. I've always, over the years, been quite neutral, not apolitical, you know, not really belonging to any political party. But whenever I feel that a government in power is doing good, I support them. And you know, when I came back, I've worked in different institutions. You know, I was in the corporate world for a while, working with some real estate companies. I've worked with different companies as an HR person, because I did HR. Went back to school, uni, when I came back, and finished my HR education degree. I have another degree in image consultancy as well. I did media relations, and so I was working as a TV host for several years. I did some acting as well, and I've always been in the media space. And you know, when you're in the media, you are open to so much information,
right.
You know. And so with the information that I had, I thought that the world needed to know, you know, what the government in power is doing. And let me go back to what got me really interested. I remember at the inauguration of Nana Akufo-Addo, when I listened to his speech, I was blown away. Those who know me, when you check my Facebook page years ago, I actually had excerpts of his speech put on my Facebook page, and I was wowed, and I thought, wow.
What's unique about it?
You know, his vision I thought was great. And when he said we should be citizens and not spectators, I thought that was great. And so I said I will be a citizen and a good one, not just a spectator.
Okay.
And so I wanted to do something, you know, that would make a difference. At a point, I didn't know the government was doing so much. And so when I chanced upon information and saw that they were doing so many things that people had no idea about, it got me so worried, you know, because I personally didn't know about some of these things. And I thought, wow, so all these things are there and the public, you know,
well, some will say
out there don't know.
Well, some will say the political parties have their communication wings. That would be their job.
Well, the gap in the communication, and that's what I think that people in government should do well, you know, especially now that we have the social media. There's so much that you can do.
Okay.
And when you see our videos, what we do is that we put things in perspective. You know, we have tables, we have graphics, and it's a video where things are very well explained for people to know. We go on the field and show people that this is a practical, you know, thing happening on the grounds. This is what is happening.
Right.
And so that gap was missing. I mean, you had the opposition doing other things where they're lying blatantly. You have the likes of Kevin Taylor throwing lies out there, and people were taking it hook, line, and sinker. And I was peeved.
Yeah.
And I thought we need to do something about it. And so fortunately I met someone who I spoke to and was also very interested and passionate about, you know, putting these things out there. And he advised that if you're so worried about it, why don't you do something about it?
Right.
And I already wanted to. And so we had to come together and do this. And
well, that's all great and all, but at the end of the day, in Ghana, nothing goes for nothing. I mean, if somebody is getting paid to do the job and they're not doing it, and there's a gap, as you explained, and you step in to do that, being a citizen, when you go to Kaneshi, Medina, everywhere, you find a lot of citizens minding their own business. You are a citizen with a purpose that's putting yourself at risk. Why would you do that?
Is it a risk? I don't see it as a risk. I mean, for me, if I'm telling the truth, I don't see it as a risk at all. You have people lying, you know, blatantly on radio, on TV, you know, about things, and you know, they don't feel ashamed. They don't look behind their backs and feel like, you know, something will be done to me. They're lying against the government in power. Nothing has been done to them. And if I am putting the truth out there, I don't think about it. I don't blink, because I know that I'm not lying about anyone. I'm not insulting anyone. It's the truth. The facts are there.
So how come your truth is so subjective? Some will say your truth is subjective. It's in favor of one particular party.
I would say even the word objective and subjective are all subjective in a way. It all
Whoa. Subjective and objective.
Yeah, they also. I mean, it all depends on how you look at it. Let me give you this example. I mean, there was a survey, sort of a survey that I read about, where people were asked this question: a car which bumped into, or let's say a car that had an accident, which was pretty bad, and a number of people were asked questions. What speed, let's say, what speed do you think the car was driving at? 50, some were saying 50 miles per hour, 10 whatever miles per hour. When they were asked what speed, it depends on the word that you use. When you say, that's where the objectiveness or the subjectiveness comes in. When you say when the car bumped into the truck, at what speed, was the driver going?
Yeah, I think I read that survey.
If you say bumped, a lot of them would say maybe
the
about
word
30.
bumped was suggestive, so they started giving low speed.
But if you say at what speed was the car going when it struck the car?
Then the response, the average response will be.
And when you say at what speed was the car going when it slumped, and it's the same answer, then nothing has changed. Yeah. But the response,
the same people who saw the same
people. But the response will be different because you're using the word bump, struck, and slumped.
Okay.
When you use the word slumped, it's like bump. Yeah. So they would think, the driver might have been speeding at a very tough speed. So
even though they saw the real thing.
Exactly. They will give very high, speed levels. So it all depends on the words.
So are you
semantics,
are you
basically
saying all these beautiful words and beautiful phonetics just to tell me that one man's truth is another man's?
Exactly. Let me give another example of this whole debt, national debt issue. A lot of people have complained that when Nanado came in, he was complaining that the previous government had borrowed too much, but he came to borrow more, blah blah blah. But it all depends on how you see it. If he borrowed more, what did he do with it? I mean, if I borrow 200 million from a bank, and I invest in companies, and I'm getting so much from it, I do so many projects, I'm getting so much from it, who is going to hold me, and say that, why have you borrowed so much? People can see that I'm working with it, a lot is happening. So if the man is doing so much, Free SHS is here, NAPCO is here, just too many roads are being built, too many things, interchanges that someone used so much money to do just one. He's using the same money to build about 4 or 5 of them. If so much is happening, how are you going to look at that and say, why did he borrow so much money?
So what you're saying is not what you borrow, but what you do with it.
What you
In
do
other
with
words,
it?
if I borrow 500 cities, now blow it, now 500 cities, you can borrow 10 times that, 5,000 cities, and you used all 5,000 to
invest in something,
invest in a business,
and I'm making profit.
Even
out
though
of it.
I owe 500 and you owe 5,000, people look at it and they'll probably look at me that, oh God, you owe too much money. Is that
exactly?
Well,
exactly.
You're right. People will look at it differently.
So what they see as subjective or objective, sometimes it depends on how you look at it. But I mean, pretty much, I would say 99.9%. I mean, if you're a reasonable human being, you would understand that whatever we put out there has been the truth. We seek for information from the right sources.
Okay.
And we put the truth out there. Because of that, I feel pretty confident. I know God has got my back.
God's got your back. Well, it's election time. Election time is upon us. And if MPP wins again, I'm sure somebody is going to approach you and say, you know what, you did well for us. Since you wanted to be a citizen to help in nation building and you did all this, we got a position for you here. Would you take it?
Oh dear. I don't know if I want to answer that kind of a question, but I would say that if that ever happens, although that is not my goal, that's not the reason why I'm doing this. Like Nana said, we should be citizens and not spectators. And if a citizen is given the chance to serve the nation, I see this government as a nation-building government. And if I'm called to be a part of the nation-building, process, I'll be happy to help. And I mean, for someone I respect as much as I do Nanado, I think it would be disrespectful towards him for me to turn him down. And so if it ever happens,
then in that case, I have to.
God's will.
Okay.
I would not turn him down.
But what if nothing has happened? That's got to be a disappointment on your part.
Life still goes on. Why should it be a disappointment?
Well, here you are. You stuck your neck out, took a risk, not paid. Well, I don't know if you were paid or not because you wouldn't tell me. But we know you're taking a risk. If the MPP doesn't come through, if I were you, I'll be.
Oh, no, I'm good. I've got it. I've got other things doing that I think would serve me quite well. And
What if the NDC wins? Then you're really in trouble.
Oh, I am.
What if the NDC wins?
I'm not. I'm sure I'll be fine. I have my work, I'm a fashion designer as well. I have businesses running.
Okay.
I'm gonna be good.
Would you continue to do this after the election?
Definitely. You think that I did this Truth in Politics just for the elections? No way.
So what if
Jermaine, Lady Jast is always going to be around to put the truth out there.
Okay.
I'm
So
going to be
the other
around to
government,
always put the truth out
if the
there.
government changes and you find that the NDC is now also doing very, very well, does that change your outlook?
I will still put the truth out there. So
Okay,
that
whichever
is going to
direction it
whichever
goes.
direction. It will still be the truth in politics.
All right. Well, let me come to this. You've made a lot of videos. There's a lot of there's got to be a favorite.
Well, there are lots of them. I've loved all the videos I've done. I've been passionate about them all. But I'm a people's person, and in the past I've worked with people. In all the companies as client service person, I've always been relating very well with people. And so for the videos that we did, where I had to go into the hinterlands, towns, out of town trips, meeting people on the streets, even in Accra, meeting people on the streets. We have more than 36 million people, and Accra alone is about 5 million or so. Accra has less than 20% of the population, more than 80%.
Actually, to be precise, I think Greater
About
Accra
80.
has 17%, which means 83%.
About 83% out. So the real work is out there, outside Accra. So I got to do Volta region, Ashanti region, different regions, interviewing people. When you get on the grounds, interacting with them, when they pour their hearts out and you see where the real problems are, what their problems are, I think that for me, that is it. I enjoyed that. I enjoy meeting them and, putting their truth out there so that the world would know.
What about regrets? Any regrets and frustrations?
In this thing, for Truth in Politics, we seek for information to put the truth out there, the facts out there. And usually when you go out there to the ministries and different departments trying to get the facts from them, the figures and everything together, and it's difficult for you to get the right people to give you the information. They are telling you to come back another time and, dilly-dallying with you. That can be very frustrating. I mean, if I am working for your interest, why is it so difficult for you to give me the information when we have the Rights Information Bill passed?
Right.
So I would, that bit has been frustrating for me.
Are there some videos that didn't get made because of a lack of information?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I think that it would have made a lot of difference if we had, you know, all that information coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Lady Jast about what next. This is Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms, DNT Ghana, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, Yasichi, on DNT.
Welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and I'm delighted to be joined by Lady Jast of Truth in Politics fame. Where did the name come from, Truth in Politics? TIP.
It's an interesting one, but that was not supposed to be the original one. It changed with time because we wanted the world to know that the videos
are
going to be truthful.
So we know both parties engage in propaganda. NPP is saying things and NDC. So you're saying that this one is the truth.
It is the truth.
Okay.
I'll stick my neck out for it.
All right. So what next? What next? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Ghana, project, look into the crystal ball and tell me what next in the next 5 years.
On a more serious note, I see, you know, Ghana moving on. If this government should continue, I think that with all that I've seen, you know, for their vision and what they have for Ghana, I think Ghana has a great future. And, you know, our children who couldn't go to school are going to school for free. Roads are being built, jobs, you know, planting for food and jobs. Things are working, you know, things are working. And so for people who don't see what is going on, I think that they should open their eyes and see so much going on. There's so much hope for Ghana. So personally, I have a lot on my plate. I have projects that I'm going to be working on, and I'm delighted.
Okay. So you say you've been back for how long now?
It's been more than 10 years.
10 years.
15,
okay, so which means when you came, you've seen NDC in power and you've seen NPP in power.
I have.
What clear difference can you tell me?
I have. See, one of the things that I didn't talk about and what pushed me to come, talking to people, because when I was leaving, Kufuor had just come to power, you know, for a while, and when I came back, I actually wished I had stayed, because then I saw some sort of transformation that I thought was I was wild. I wish I had stayed in Ghana, because I had friends who were doing businesses, who were doing very well. You know, businesses were flourishing, things were working for people. And I thought, wow, I actually didn't expect this. And I was wowed by that, you know. And so that was what gave me the confidence to stay. And I thought that, you know, if I stay, you know, the way things are, it looks like Ghana is going somewhere, you know. And so I believe that this Ghana is good.
But then,
you know,
so
if you're focused,
you came back what year?
This year thing is always difficult for me to.
But the
to
point
go
I'm
back
making
there.
is,
let's say it was in the 2000.
okay,
or something.
so
2007.
all right. So you've
6.
seen a bit of Kufuor, a bit of
Trying to
Mills,
remember.
a bit of Kufuor, a bit of Mills, bit of all of Mahama, and now all of Nana, right? What clear difference do you see in these administrations?
I would say that for me personally, you could tell that one party is clearly a nation building party. When they are in power, things work. That's the truth. Things work when they're in power. Things move forward. People have hope when they're in power. And
So
that's
what do they do to give people that hope? Is it in their confidence, or is it in the things they do, the policies?
I mean, I think confidence is a good thing, but confidence without action wouldn't put food on your table. And so as you're confident about what you say, you need to back it up with action. And clearly that is what Nana Akufo-Addo has done so far.
All right. So if you take out the government's performance aside, right, when he came back, what are some of the things that you get frustrated with? I mean, this is not non-partisan, no party, no government,
of course,
the people of Ghana.
Of course.
What do you see?
I mentioned a few things about the attitude towards the foreigners thing, but apart from that, the frustration, the bureaucracy, when you want certain things done and people take too long to work on your papers, when there's a contract that you're supposed to get, people want you to grease their palm and do certain things, whereas out in UK you don't need to go through all those frustrations. I mean, people will do things for you, and when you want to give them something, you just do it after. But here they want they want to give them some before, which is very frustrating. That's one of the things that pisses me. And driving on the roads can be so frustrating. People, these truck drivers, they will not do the right thing. They frustrate you. And so I'm almost always talking when I'm driving, giving commentaries, because I have to say, when can't you do the right thing? I mean, I'm just hoping that with time, these things will be fixed. And it's one of the things that I'm hoping that the MPP government will work on, discipline in our society. I think we have fallen short there. So as a society. And so we need to make that work.
But does it take the government or does it take the people?
It takes both. I think it's a two-way thing. Egg and chicken thing. One has to come before the other. By the end of the day, the responsibilities or the onus lies on both citizens and
because if you try to enforce discipline, there are people who will forget about whether it's free SHS, planting for whatever you've done,
vote against
just because I want to break the law and you preventing me from breaking the law, so I'll vote against you.
And it has happened. I've seen people complain. They are hawking on the pavements. Don't hawk there. And they say when you talk about it or you stop them, you're going to take food from their tables, and so they will vote against you. Taxi drivers won't do the right thing. Truck drivers, and when you complain, they will tell you that we won't. I think that we need to get above that. Someone has to say, you know what, enough. The right things need to be done, whether you vote for me or not. No, but with time, the people, when we force them to do certain things right, with time, they will change. I'm sure in UK and US, things were not, like they are years ago, but the system is working now. It had to take you know, someone, you know, some people to say, you know what, let's make things work. So our attitude should change.
Okay.
But the people in government also have to force people.
Yeah.
Supervision is key, because if you put people in place and you don't supervise them to do the right thing, then things don't get done.
If you don't supervise a police officer, he's going to take his bribe.
Exactly.
There are those who believe that this free SHS is going to solve that problem. Do you share that belief? I mean, in the long term.
In the long term, I do. I mean, it's not going to solve all our problems, but you realize that when people are educated to an extent, there are certain things they don't do, or they do certain things right. And so basic education to a certain level is key.
Okay, so that brings me to this. The driving thing that you're talking about. I see people driving like trotro drivers who are in a suit. Sure, you can tell this man is educated, and yet the sign says left turn only, and he's trying to cut to the right.
Well, I feel that education is not just about books.
Okay.
You know, it's not just about books. Like they say in our local parlance here, we nyansa and I walk a book nyansa. You could be educated with the book and not be home trained, you know, enough. Okay. And not be wise enough to do certain things right. Okay. You know, education is not enough to change people's behavior, but as we educate people, I think that we need to do a reorientation. You know, if it has to be on TV, on social media, we need to do a reorientation. People's mindset needs to change. Okay. For them to do things right.
All right. Well, December 7th. People are going to the polls. You've said that you've told the truth, and the truth are mostly you truly believe that the MPP government is working. What do you think will happen, result-wise? What's your prediction?
You're putting me in such a tight corner. I mean, we've worked hard to put the truth out there for people to know, and so I believe Ghanaians are discerning people. They are wise enough, and all the negative propaganda out there throwing dust in the eyes of people would not work. So I believe that
I saw one of your videos.
This government will be retained.
So your prediction is that this government will be retained. You want to know my prediction?
What is yours?
My prediction? Hosts are not supposed to give predictions. That's what hosts are supposed to. We can just say right there because we'll ask you. But
you tried. You weaved your way out.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
what about the fact that and you told me that you've been on the road and everything. What is this thing about? I'm an Ashanti, so I have to vote MPP. I'm an Airway, so I have to vote NDC. I'm this, so I have to do what? I mean, does it matter?
I think it's unfortunate. But the thing is, as Africans, I think we get very attached to our various tribes and all that, and we need to grow, you know, beyond that. People should understand issues and vote based on issues.
But do you think they do? Did you find that they do?
I did. I did. I mean, I was saddened in one of the regions. I was saddened because people on the streets, when you ask them the reasons why they wanted to vote for a particular party, they wouldn't give you any, but they would just tell you that I want to vote for this party.
Okay. Well, very good. I want to thank you for joining us on Diaspora Network Television. This has been Diaspora Weekly, and my guest, Lady Jast. Lady Jast, would you care to give us your full name? Nah, never mind. All right. It's been great. I thank you so much for joining me. I think you've shed light on this truth in politics things, and now you know where all those things came from.
The pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me.
All right. Stay tuned for other programming. Bye.
me free Ghana. Me man Penia Wodikano, your friend of Dr. Nkrumah. Me a mini sana when my dear number your mama. I send back up baby na mentia, a me wangwa. Here, on no Naji Fahudia, Yanaraya Sassini, a body de my Mojana Nanum here, Gunya to her my a room in never to say a baby at once. Can I be a baby? I'm a new Say Obiana wa and any jana into young physical tons of fangu from Namu Frayina, come na yanto Jomon Campo, Yamusa, Yakina, Nanu, there be a so did video some you need Gana City, Obia baby, and not to any greedy. I bet Janka Bitty baby and I will go to Kuibia, Bianco, Bini, Libya, when I was so young. Rene Usima Baku and the Piatos and Ankuti can answer what Parliament, Akonako, and I just say, Mundu to become a power man for Jankan Koya Bawana, and Master Bibia, woman, Pango Shabon, some tower, and yes, Anna Kotipa, one on Kutra, Abanka, really. Said,